2023 compared to 117.29 in June 2022. The volatility in the global financial markets has surged amid significant strengthening of the US dollar against major currencies and rapid changes in policy stance in advanced economies in response to inflationary pressures. Mr. Speaker, in addition to the domestic forex demands, they went up on a higher global prices for imported products, mainly food, fuel, and fertilizers. These are now much more expensive. Mr. Speaker, let me also point out that the official foreign exchange reserves have declined from 7,969.5 million. That is 4.4 months of import cover. As of December 2022, the 4 months of import cover as at February 2023, the usable forex reserves declined to 7.1, but the usable forex reserves remained adequate at 6.3 million, 6,531 million US dollars. That is 3.63 months of import cover as at 19th April 2023. This, honorable members, still meets the Central Bank of Kenya statutory requirements to endeavor to maintain at least 4 months of import cover. Mr. Speaker, together these developments have significantly impacted liquidity in the domestic forex market. In particular, the interbank forex transactions have declined, limiting price action in that market. The exchange rate, honorable members, impacts directly on the cost of living in Kenya as imported goods and services have become more expensive. Mr. Speaker, let me also touch on particular causes of the escalation of food prices from 2022 and 2023. Mr. Speaker, the country has experienced a prolonged period of drought over the last 2.5 years. From the year 2020 to 2023, which has been recorded as the worst drought in 40 years. The performance of the 2022 long rains was poor in parts of the country, which was followed by crop failure in the Asals during the short rain season. The anticipated relief from the October, November, December 2022 short rains season was not realized, except for pulses due to the prolonged drought that resulted in a 6th failed rain season. This scenario reduced the annual maize production, creating a higher national deficit of about 34% in 2022 compared to 28% in 2021. Mr. Speaker, I would like to let the House know that the country recorded the lowest maize production in 10 years. The lowest production of maize in 10 years. We managed to get, as a nation, 34.4 million bags, which is 3.1 million metric tons in 2022. Ordinarily, we would be talking about close to 50 million bags or 48 million bags, but we got 34. The country also lost approximately 2.5 million heads of livestock due to the drought effects. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore important to note that the onset of the current rain season and associated flash floods has also occasioned further loss of livestock of unknown value, and a planned rapid assessment will determine the actual cause. That means the government is planning to have a rapid assessment to determine the actual loss. Mr. Speaker, extreme climate change events, growing population, rising food prices, and other environmental stresses have emerged as key drivers of food insecurity and malnutrition. It is further acknowledged that the supply chain disruptions of 2020 to 2022 due to negative global events, that is COVID-19 pandemic and its lingering effects, the impact of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and high fuel prices have increased the percentage of food insecure populations. Mr. Speaker, in my written statement, I've endeavored to share specific data on this particular question, but I'll not go through with that. Let me now pick up the issue of what is the government doing, or what measures has the government taken to cushion Kenyans from the high cost of living occasioned by these rising prices of basic commodities. Mr. Speaker, the first step is to focus on enhancing food security. The government aims to achieve food self-sufficiency and reduce imports through increased production and productivity of all staple food crops, including stepping up production of oilseed crops such as sunflower and sesame. The March, April, May 2023 rain season is predicted to be normal, and we thank God for that. We intend to maximize our production potential for the rain-dependent grain-producing areas. The first significant harvest of grain is expected to enter the market in August 2023. Mr. Speaker, we also have some short-term measures to address the food security situation. The government has taken the long-term, sustainable approach of resolving the cost of living predicament by subsidizing production instead of consumption. However, there are a number of immediate interventions that are aimed as short-term solutions to the high cost of living, and at the same time build momentum for the long-term approach. Key to this, Mr. Speaker, is the fertilizer subsidy program. During the 2022-23 short rain season, the government availed 3.1 million bags of fertilizer worth Kenya shillings 3.5 billion to improve farmers' uptake and agricultural yields. In the current long rain season, the government has launched the enhanced e-voucher fertilizer subsidy program, through which it has availed 6 million 50 kilogram bags of subsidized fertilizer worth Kenya shillings 15 billion, retailing at a cost of Kenya shillings 3,500 per bag, down from the market price of 6,500 per bag, representing a subsidy of Kenya shillings 3,000 per bag for fertilizer. To date, Mr. Speaker, 2,246,000 e-vouchers have been issued to registered farmers. As at 22nd April 2023, 28 counties were participating in the maize and coffee value chains. The total digitally registered farmers in these counties was 2,332,000 farmers. In these counties, 1,960,000 50 kilogram bags of fertilizers have been bought, and by a total of 271,684 farmers. Subsidized fertilizer for tea and coffee farmers has also been organized under the same program. And Mr. Speaker, again, I'll table some data or statistics on how this fertilizer has been distributed across the counties. Mr. Speaker, another intervention from the government is the provision of duty waivers on food imports. To bridge the food stocks deficit and stabilize the high food commodity prices, the government has granted duty waiver for importation of 1.4 million metric tons of white maize, 600,000 metric tons of rice, 500,000 metric tons of yellow maize, largely to be used for production of animal feed, 200,000 metric tons of soya beans, 300 metric tons of soya bean meal, 1,600 metric tons of assorted protein concentrate, and 40,000 metric tons of feed additives, effective from 1st February to 6th of August 2023. Mr. Speaker, you will note that this program is being put in place to end before the Kenyan farmers' harvest season begins. Mr. Speaker, the duty-free maize imports will temporarily reduce the high cost of maize and flour for consumer benefit in the short term. However, the cost of food will be dictated by supply and demand, which is the key focus of the Kenya Kwanza government. Mr. Speaker, we will also engage in active post-harvest management programs, because it is estimated that Kenyan farmers lose about 30% of their crops. So we will put more effort in this particular area. We will also support the farmers in ensuring that we also deal with enhanced pest control and aflatoxin efforts to eliminate the danger of our foods being contaminated. We also intend to promote drought-tolerant crops. Mr. Speaker, in the current year, over 250 metric tons of assorted drought-tolerant seeds valued at Kenya shillings 50 million have been distributed in Embu, Meru, Makueni, Machakos, Tharaka Nithi, Murang'a, Nyeri, Siaya, and Busia counties. These being basic seeds, it is expected that farmers will multiply and redistribute the seeds in their localities, thus addressing the challenge of seed access and food insecurity. Mr. Speaker, we also have quite a number of other government programs in collaboration with the county governments. These are programs that support crop and livestock insurance, the National Value Chain Support Program, small-scale irrigation programs, value addition programs, Kenya Cereals Enhancement Programs, Kenya Climate Smart Support Programs, just to name a few.